It feels like the Switch Pro has been discussed, hypothesized, and predicted forever. Quick pause.
So even though I hate the thought of leaving you, I hope you come to terms and have it in your heart.
Yes, right in the middle of while I was working on this video, Mr. Furukawa came out and said that Nintendo has no plans for a new Switch console in 2020. But this video is still totally valid because eventually there will be a Switch Pro. Eventually, Nintendo will iterate once again. And this video is about what the Switch Pro needs to eventually earn my purchase and eventually earn your purchase as well. And that's still totally relevant and valid. So the video can continue. Our Switch Pro wishlist doesn't just vanish because Nintendo says it ain't happening this year. Plus, you never truly know with Nintendo. And I'm including some of you guys' Switch Pro wants from earlier in the week because I do firmly believe that at some point we will get a boosted, stronger, better Switch. And just because Furukawa says not calendar 2020 doesn't mean we can't still discuss. Now back to the video. For like literal years, since the beginning of Switch, I feel like some of the first words out of our mouths were, when will the Switch Pro come? And recent rumors have us thinking the Switch Pro might actually be coming, and I feel like all of us will get a little credit for willing this thing into existence if it actually does come to fruition later this year. It's the perfect year for it because, as we know, Microsoft and Sony are pumping out their brand new, top-of-the-line, ultra-powerful consoles. What will Nintendo do? Well, that's what we're talking about today. What I want to see out of a Switch Pro and what you want to see out of a Switch Pro. Let's dig in. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and I have a list, let me tell you. Because a Switch Pro needs to do a lot of things to not just be impressive for new players, but also to be alluring and worthwhile for current Switch owners. They can't just go in and do a moderate upgrade, and that is a potential fear, because early in the year, we saw a bunch of rumors saying, hey, Switch Pro is coming mid this year. Hey, Switch Pro is coming this fall. Hey, they're already working on production for this thing. And the rumors have persisted in that fashion for a while, but now they're getting more and more narrow, like, hey, it's actually being produced. And then we've got recent rumors saying it ain't gonna be 4K, and maybe it's just a moderate upgrade in the vein of Xbox One to Xbox One S. Not X, not the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X half step, but the 8th step of the Xbox One S. And I cannot have that happen. That is not good enough. If you're going to do a moderate upgrade, Nintendo, that puts you in the no man's land, because that puts you in a spot where it's not enough for current Switch owners to go all the way up and buy a new console, but it's too much for current Switch owners to feel like they kind of got a raw deal for purchasing a Switch as an early adopter, and by early we're talking 3.5 years. So a moderate improvement, I think, does nothing. I'm hoping Nintendo goes all the way and delivers a premium console. So let me know in the comments down below what you want most out of a Switch Pro. Feel free to take one of my items. Feel free to give me your own item. Let me know in the comments. Let's get into my list now. Now let me be very crystal clear. I want this to happen so bad. Not just so the rumors will stop being rumors, but actually become news. But also, I love new consoles, baby. And if Microsoft and Sony are going to get into it and go to work, I want Nintendo to rise up as well. Now, it's definitely not time for a Switch 2. We know that. The install base is insane with the Switch. The goodwill is, oh my goodness, on point. And every major game they bring out ends up being one of the best sellers of the year, one of the best sellers of the generation, one of the best games of the franchise. So they can't abandon that. But introducing something to make consumers go, let me consider what I'm going to buy this fall, or at least feel like their Nintendo nostalgia and Nintendo love isn't being walked back into the past, but can maintain some current kind of coolness with the new tech. Like, Nintendo is on their own schedule. They're never going to reach PS5 and Xbox Series X in the same year, or maybe even in the same generation as those consoles, but they can get closer, and here's what they got to do. The first one is an obvious one, but it's probably the most important, and it goes back to what I just was talking about. They can have no exclusives for Switch Pro. None. I'm kind of a crazy person. I like buying everything. I want the most souped up, best in their class, future forward-thinking games possible, but in this case, Nintendo cannot do it. They cannot split that base whatsoever. It's obvious, but it has to be said, no exclusives. Same exact games, please. And we'll get to the accessories a little later. But I want to talk on the elephant in the room, the biggest kahuna, which is power. How much power does a Switch Pro need? Moderate power improvement, not what I'm looking for. 4K is so dreaming. I don't know if I personally need it, but I feel like the Switch Pro needs it just from a check the box, back of the box, big bold advertisement standpoint. If they say that their console can reach 4K, that means a lot to a lot of people, especially in a year when PS5 is going teraflop crazy, Xbox Series X is getting even more. They're searching for 8K. They're doing all the frames. If we can get something that comes close to 4K and looks really good, it's never going to be as good, but if it can get close, I think that is important just from a check it off standpoint. But what I want most out of power is awesome portable performance. I think if they can get real down and dirty with 1080p 60 or close to it, give us crispy performance, crispy resolution, that's the differentiating factor. They're never going to be as good pound for pound as the other boxes, but they do have an advantage. They can go portable, they can go tabletop. They are flexible. So if you can increase the performance and improve the experience of that differentiating factor, to me, that is the critical win. The better Switch can get on the go, the better Switch can get on your coffee table, the better the Switch can get on the airplane, in the train, at the doctor's office, in bed, the better the Switch is in general. Because connecting to my big, bold 65-inch TV, that is where PS5 and Xbox Series X excel. Nintendo plays a bit of a different game, and I want them to play to it, even with a Switch Pro. The Nintendo Switch Pro also needs better build quality. I'm talking premium materials, I'm talking less bezel, I'm talking same form factor, but you might be able to squeeze a little bit more screen real estate if you do remove some of that bezel. I think obviously keeping it one-to-one with the Switch is important for the games and for the accessories. My Joy-Con collection will cry if it's not compatible. But we gotta go premium here. Nintendo is often a fan in their iterations of going smaller, more compact, more convenient. But here I hope they put in bells and whistles. I hope they make that thing sleek. I hope they make that thing sexy. I hope it looks like a premium console. You better believe Series X and PS5 are gonna look like souped up PCs. And Nintendo doesn't need to look like them, but I would like to see some effort in this department. Even though we recently heard that Reggie shot down the idea of updating the logo to appeal to the older, more hardcore gamers, I love that Nintendo focuses on family, but with the Switch Pro, you are appealing to the hardcore. They've got the Switch Lite, which is fun colors, and which is cool, feels good, matte finish, love that thing. The triggers are juicy, and it feels perfect in its small form factor, but for this one, I really hope that they find a way to make it look less plasticky and more premium. I don't know exactly what you need to do, I don't know exactly what type of metals, alloys, what you gotta use, but I want it to feel pro. I don't want a double hamburger like the PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't want just a little bit shifted box like the Xbox Series X. I'd like something that's like, wow, that's the nice Switch. That's like the really nice Switch, because remember, it's gonna play the same games. So the people that buy this are the ones that would probably care more about upgrades. And so I hope we get some in the body and in the piece, the hardware, the console itself. Now, let's talk compatibility, because baby, it has to be there. They have to make sure the Switch Pro works with all of the accessories you already have. My Joy-Con collection, I've got a problem. Okay, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. I have every single Joy-Con they've ever put out. I have a problem, and I don't want that problem to become an even bigger problem when they don't work with the Switch Pro. They gotta work. It's a really nice pie-in-the-sky idea to think that they could invent a better Joy-Con. But while nice sounding on paper, it would be catastrophic for the amount of dollars and cents we've invested into the already expensive Switch controllers and accessories. So they gotta work. My entire Joy-Con collection has got to work. They gotta be able to snap on. They could do a premium Pro controller, because that is a separate thing. It doesn't click on in any way, but I honestly don't think they need to. They don't need to go stir crazy and mix everything up. The controllers are fine. The Switch Pro should be a premium piece of hardware that improves the under-the-hood performance with better materials, but the same controllers. I really think that needs to happen. Now, I'm all for a special Joy-Con set, special looking console that is only available with the Switch Pro. I think you would give us a sweet color scheme, or maybe like some shiny Joy-Con, or maybe some like metal finish Joy-Con. I don't know. They've done all sorts of crazy things in the custom space. Do something fancy and fun with the Switch Pro for the Joy-Con that come in the box. They're only available there, but they're the same Joy-Con. So if I want to take my purple and my orange, I want to take my neon red, my neon blue, I want to take my arms highlighter yellow, I can pop those things on and it isn't a problem. Now the dock is probably going to have to change, most likely. I'm thinking maybe for more power, right? Unless they're able to not, I mean, if they can get the same dock, that would be great as well. But I'm okay to say, all right, the dock's got to be a little different as long as the controllers and the other accessories all still work. That has to be a must. This is a small one, but we got to have a better memory option right out of the box. I don't care if it's more onboard memory or a bigger SD card that comes with the system, but you cannot sell a premium Switch Pro and give me itty bitty living space. We gotta have enough juice to put a ton of games on this thing. We gotta have Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Animal Crossing. We gotta have all of it on the system. And I don't think that you should buy a Switch Pro, which is a premium console, and then feel like you gotta go out and spend more on memory cards. They've gotten so cheap, it's not the end of the world, but I think it would be a nice, like, hey, it's a fan service move to say, hey, you love downloading games, we hear you, we see it, we're putting more memory in this thing, either via onboard or via the card. Now, we can't have exclusive games, we can't have exclusive Joy-Con, but we can have maybe a little bit of special sauce in the UI. I know this one's a little out there, a little crazy, but what if the Switch Pro did finally deliver on the hypothetical promise of themes? I love themes so much. They don't even exist, and I already love them so much. They do them on the handheld. Goodness gracious, put them on the Switch. It would be so much fun. Yes, the clean aesthetic of either dark or light themes works very well, but giving us the ability to add themes would help differentiate the Switch Pro in another way that isn't just tech specs and premium materials. Same Joy-Con, same games, but you got themes. Maybe then eventually it carries over to the OG Switch. I don't know, but I think introducing themes either exclusively for Switch Pro or at least kicking them off with Switch Pro would go a long way to making Switch Pro feel like more of a refresh than just a slight bump. Again, we're not talking Switch 2, but if you are going to line up and try to beat PS5 and Xbox Series X out the gates, because I firmly believe if Nintendo puts this out, it will be before those consoles release, then you should have the experience, the user experience, feel a little bit upgraded. And yeah, that comes from resolution and frame rate, but it could also come from themes. And Nintendo, I would love you so much. I would be personally so pleased. I could have Pikmin on my Switch since you're not giving me Pikmin 4. I could have Metroid on my Switch since Metroid Prime 4 is so far off. I could love Splatoon until Splatoon 3. I could even put ARMS on there since nobody likes ARMS anymore. And rock an ARMS theme, but I think themes would be a really nice way to differentiate or at least level up what the Switch Pro does in a kind of unique fashion that would still be really appealing and feel like, for me, a boost. We've made our way to price point, which I think is mission critical and going to be a tough decision for Nintendo if they do decide to roll out the Switch Pro. We know that the other consoles are going to be way up there. In fact, the Switch might be half the price already with zero discounts and zero price cuts of the new systems, which is crazy. So we know the Switch Pro is going to have to be more. You've got the Switch Lite at $200, the Switch at $300. Could they drop the Switch soon to $250? Maybe. I would be pushing hard for a $350 Switch Pro. $399 probably more likely, but $349 is one heck of a sales proposition. You're talking a $50 bump from the original Switch, but you're getting so much more power. And you're still $150 to $250 less than the other consoles. $150 to $250 less than the new consoles. So it feels like a new version of the Switch, an iterative step in the real right direction, but with a modest price bump. I think $349 doesn't upset anyone. I think it seems, we've gotten so used to $300. We paid $300 since launch day, since inception in 2017. So $350, okay, that's a really reasonable step up. I think current Switch owners would feel comfortable paying that if they wanted a beefier, better system. I think new owners would feel like, wow, I can get the Xbox Series X for $600 big ones, the PS5 for $500 or $550, or the Switch Pro for $350. I like $350. I'd be okay anywhere from $300 to $400. I think my ideal world is they've got the Switch Lite at $200. They drop the OG Switch to $250 in a move to eventually get the Switch Lite down to like $179. And then the new Switch comes in at $350. Or maybe the OG Switch goes to $279, the new Switch at $349. I don't know. But I think $350 would be glorious. $400, probably more likely. You cannot go more than that at all. And maybe Nintendo goes crazy and is able to get it even lower. They love doing that. They love keeping things reduced. I think they've really been impressive. But if you look at the cost of what like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X is going to cost, and you want to try to go comparable, I think if you can stay in the threes, and preferably in the first half, you're sitting pretty, and that is what I would feel really comfortable paying. Here's another super important thing the Switch Pro needs, and it wouldn't even be in the same box as the Switch Pro. A system-selling game. A system-selling game that old Switch owners want to buy and that people feel makes sense for the Switch Pro. If the Switch Pro comes out this year, it needs a big title. It's not okay to just say, hey, we already have Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Three Houses and Animal Crossing. Now you can play them better. No, it needs a showpiece. And I think it's lining up for Breath of the Wild 2 to release this fall alongside the Switch Pro. I think that is the thing you need to do. It's a better, bigger Zelda. Zelda's always what Nintendo likes to launch new consoles with. And even though this isn't new, it makes sense to give a showpiece, something or other, alongside the system. Maybe there's a game we don't know about yet, can't predict, that would go nicely, but it probably isn't Metroid Prime 4. That thing is far off. And part of me wonders if that is what they always had lined up to launch alongside a Switch Pro, but I don't think it will be ready. So if they are going to go 2020 for this beefed up Switch, Breath of the Wild 2 or something in a comparable space really needs to happen. They need a big game that launches day and date. I firmly believe it. It didn't happen with the other half-step consoles, but Nintendo, they're a different animal. They've got big games, and they might as well. That's going to get people to want to play something brand new on the Switch Pro. I think you generate so much more buzz, so much more hype. Just ask yourself, if the Switch Pro comes out September 4th, hey, you're probably going to get it still, right? If you're hardcore. But if it comes out September 4th or October 4th alongside a brand new bold game, aren't you going to be pulled so much more to want to play that big new game that's looked so awesome that Nintendo went crazy on at E3 on the new Switch Pro? It just makes sense. Tie them together. You know how Nintendo kind of tied Link's Awakening to the Switch Lite? It wasn't bundled in, it wasn't officially a partner, but it worked out and it made sense. It was a game that really evoked portable values, and portable play seemed like the ideal fit for that little Link adventure. I think they need to do the same thing with the Switch Pro. Breath of the Wild 2 seems like the top tier candidate, at least based on what we know right now. Those are the big ones that I want and need out of a Switch Pro. I'm not getting too crazy. I'm not thinking this is going to be some amazing, incredible rebirth of the Switch, because it's not. It's not a Switch 2. It is a half step. But there are things they can do to make it exciting, to make it alluring, and to make current Switch owners want to play. You don't want a situation where they feel they've got to do an ambassador program to make good for the people that bought a Switch. It's been 3.5 years. It's time for a new one. That's okay. I think that's enough time to give an iterative half step. It's fine. People aren't going to be too pissed as long as you do things right. Don't go the moderate improvement route. Go all the way. Give us good value. Set the price point smartly, and people will upgrade. You know, would I get a Switch Pro if it was built like this and I didn't do YouTube? I think the answer is yes, because 3.5 years is enough time. I can probably pawn off my Switch for $200. I can probably put that towards a $350, $400 Switch Pro and feel good knowing I'm getting a better Switch that's going to carry me through the second half of this generation. Nintendo has spoke time and time again about how they want the Switch to last as long as possible. So an 8, 9, 10-year cycle is plausible. And if you think about it from that standpoint, you're investing in a longer period of time than what the Switch has already given you. So yes, if the Switch can improve in these ways, better materials, a premium finish, if it can give us more power, reach for 4K, at least deliver crispy portable tabletop performance, if it can utilize the same accessories so I don't need to double down and buy on that, if it can come partnered with a really awesome showpiece game that takes advantage of the extra boost in power, if it could maybe bring us themes, which would be really nice. I think this is something that you could justify buying even if you aren't a YouTuber, even if you already have a Switch. The Switch Lite's a different story because in some ways it's a regressive step. So do you need to buy something that does less than your current Switch? If you have a Switch, no, that doesn't make as much sense. Only the really hardcore wanted that thing. But here is one where it is moving forward. It is bringing you up to date. It is stepping you into maybe not the next generation, but closer. It'll make you feel like you've got a system that can compete more with what else is out there, and you are getting your money's worth as you go forward and up, rather than just spending to have something that can do less. You know what I'm saying? I think a Switch Pro is justifiable as a second Switch or replacing your Switch, as long as they deliver a substantial improvement. Moderate improvement, whole different story. But let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that the initial rumors are more true than the recent rumors. I don't want a situation where it's just a Switch V3, better battery life, slight performance boost. That's boring. I don't want that. But let me know what you want in the comments down below. Feel free to use one of mine. Give me your own. What do you want most out of a Switch Pro? What would you need to buy one, given that you already probably have a Switch or a Switch Lite? And that's an interesting story as well. The Switch Lite owners that want to upgrade or in addition get a Switch Pro because they felt so good about the Switch Lite. They love it portably. Now they want something to continue their Nintendo love, their Mario adventures, their Link adventures, their eventual Metroid adventures, their freaking Mr. Rossetti adventures on their TV. That is an interesting upgrade path that makes a lot more sense and is a very interesting conversation. So let's have that conversation in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are excited for what Nintendo decides to roll out this year. There's a chance they roll out nothing. But if you want my true take, I think it happens. I think we get a Switch Pro this year. I think it is a substantial upgrade. I don't think we are perfectly happy. I don't think I get everything I wanted, but I do think we get compatibility. I do think we get no exclusives. I do think we get more power, and I do think it comes out in 2020 at a reasonable price point with a game that says, hello, buy me. That'll do it for the video, my friends. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video and are excited for Nintendo to roll out another pillar of their Switch plan. I am freaking pumped to see what they do. Until next time, everybody, thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic day. Be good to yourself and others out there. SwitchForce out.
Come undone. So even though I hate the thought of leaving you, I hope you come to terms and have it in your heart to end it all. You're better off alone. Sincerely yours, I could be sorry for the things that caused you harm, but nothing I can say or do will make it come undone.